I'm David. Over the last 2.5 decades, I have held many roles in this life. Previously, I've been a community health professional, a chauffeur, a tenant, a student, amongst other things. More recently, I have been a manager, a homeowner, a son, a brother, a caregiver, a soap opera fan, and most importantly, an iced coffee enthusiast. In fact, I had to stop for coffee on my way here. So, when I was a little kid and both of my parents were working during the day, I spent many days with my grandma, Laquetta. This is Laquetta. We would spend pretty much every day together because both my parents were at work, and we would go around and we would do things, but every day we would stop what we were doing and watch Days of Our Lives. Any Days of Our Lives fans in here? So Laquetta had watched Days of Our Lives at that point for close to 4 decades, and she continued to watch it for 5.5 decades. This is her on her 89th birthday. She called it her love story. So with that said, we're going to return to that concept in a few minutes. There's also some other characters. Actually, no, we won't go to the other characters yet. I'm changing my script as I go. So, one of the things that has stuck with me about Laquetta's love story is that life is complicated. And we don't always know what's coming next, and we can't always prepare for what is about to happen or what will happen in the distant future. With that said, I'd like to tell you a little bit about my own life. Let's fast forward about 2 decades or so. 2 decades or so later, Laquetta would age and lose function, and I would help her with things as I could, taking her to get her hair done, running to the store, helping her cook, things like that. And in doing so, we got a lot of quality time together. There was another factor here. We all lived through the COVID-19 pandemic. I don't need to tell you about that. But nearly 3 years ago, my dad was diagnosed with a rare blood cancer. And that changed our world forever. And our world is never going to be the same. And as we have navigated treatment plans and hospital stays and ER visits and everything and anything having to do with his treatment, I've had a lot of time to think. Think about what matters to me. Think about my own mortality and what really matters with the time that we have together, both with those that we love and the time we have ourselves. This picture is actually myself and my parents about a year ago at my grad school graduation, and it was a very joyful day. I actually did not have a graduation for my bachelor's because of COVID, so this was extra special for us, and getting to share it with them was a memory that I will always cherish. So, I'm sure you're wondering, what is living simply? And you can Google it and find 1,000 different definitions. I have seen every one of them probably. I've spent a lot of time researching this topic. So living simply to me, because there's not a universal definition, is figuring out what matters to you and leaning into that. Like I said, there is not a universal definition. So it's very individualized. I wish I could give you something more concrete, but that is the best I can do. One of the things with living simply is it has many benefits, and I have lived those benefits firsthand. Living simply has allowed me to figure out what really matters, and for me that is time with the people I love, doing work that I enjoy, watching my soaps, having coffee with friends, things like that. I mean, I could go on and on, but we don't have time for that tonight. So, there are benefits, and some of them are improved health. If you're focused on the things that matter to you, your health is going to be better. It can also be better financially. When I focused on what mattered to me, I was able to become a homeowner. And another benefit is that it brings meaningful connection to our lives. Living simply has allowed me to build deep relationships with those around me. And it has allowed me to cultivate friendships that otherwise wouldn't have happened with people who sometimes don't even look like me. But we find out that we have so much in common. So remember when I said that we would come back to the concept of a love story? Anybody? Yes? No? Okay, good. I was hoping for some participation there. Thank you. With that said, by living simply, we each can have our own love story. And that looks different for everyone. For me, the love story is spending time with friends, being with my family, enjoying my deck off of my little condo, working, going to the gym, going for walks. It's the little things in life that matter to me. So, I'm sure you're all wondering, now that I've told you bits of my life story, how do I live simply? Anybody wondering that? Yes. Okay, so I can't give you a universal formula because, like I said, there's not a universal definition. But what I have found is reflection is key. You have to ask yourself, what really matters? And that's often something you have to think deeply about. You have to engage in conversations with those around you, with your loved ones. Take the time and continue to take time. This is something that will change with time, over the days, over the months, over the years, and even over the decades. And with that, I think you will find a way to live simply. So let me leave you with this. By working to live simply, each and every one of us in this room, and those of us joining via the live stream and watching the recording later, can live their own love story. We all have that capacity in our lives to live a love story. And we can do that by living simply. Thank you.